Hi, I'm Peter McNulty. I'm your son or daughter's calculus teacher at Loyola Academy. Several years ago, I was asked to participate in Loyola's their pilot program for the new one-to-one iPad initiative. It was a tremendous year of professional growth for me. I went to a lot of seminars, I met with a lot of other teachers from different schools, I read a lot, and I learned a lot. I was exposed to a lot of the new and emerging strategies that were resulting from the new and emerging technologies that are out there. And one of the strategies that I was most attracted to was the flipped classroom model. Now, the next year, I flipped my geometry class, and I was so pleased with the results that I went on to flip my calculus class. I found that in my flipped classes, there was a higher level of engagement with the students. Rather than coming in each day and watching me teach for most of the period, they were able to come in and engage with the material. I found that there was a higher level of learning, certainly a greater facility with the information and the vocabulary. There was greater accountability because the flipped class removes the teacher as just the dispenser of knowledge, and I become more of a resource for students. So along with the information that can be gleaned from the resources that are available electronically, students can rewatch videos rather than just come in to me for extra help. I found that there was less course fatigue, that as the year went on, students were happier to be in my geometry class or their calculus class because it was less about just listening to me every day and more about interacting with the material and with their colleagues. And the increased communication skills was really noticeable. As I said, their facility with the vocabulary was important, but they were collaborating more. As you'll see on Thursday night, you'll be sitting in cooperative learning groups in my class. The students spend a lot of time working with each other, developing their communication and collaborative skills, which will certainly be something that they take on to later classes and take on with them into their careers. Now, this video was broken into 4 parts. Right here is the introduction, but I've also borrowed a video from YouTube which explains the flipped classroom model and helps you to understand some of the justification for it. Then I'm going to describe some of the apps that we'll be using in class every day. And finally, I interviewed some of my students after my first year of flipping the geometry class, and they've got some feedback that you may enjoy watching. Either way, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope it gives you a clear experience of what your son or daughter will be learning and experiencing in my class this year. Thanks for watching.
Every day, 7.2 million students walk into classrooms throughout the United States. These classrooms generally look the same. 30 students sit in rows of desks, taking notes in their notebooks, while the teacher stands at a whiteboard teaching a lesson. Regardless of ability level, each student receives the exact same information at the exact same pace. As Ms. Jackson presents this same material, the students respond differently. Tommy gets it, while Allison is bored, and Maria is lost. At the end of the day, these same students head home. While at home, they sit at the kitchen table doing their homework and trying to remember what Ms. Jackson said. Students like Tommy make it most of the way through the homework, while others, like Allison, find it easy and fly through it. At the same time, students like Maria get frustrated and need some extra help. Ms. Jackson recognizes that students have different needs and would love to work individually with each student, but this requires time and resources that her school does not have. One solution to this problem is the flipped classroom. Here's what it looks like. While at home, students sit in their rooms watching videos of the lesson that Ms. Jackson assigned. Tommy is still able to work at his normal pace. Allison is no longer bored because now she can use this new technology to fast forward through the easy material. And Maria is no longer frustrated because she can review the material that she didn't understand by pausing and rewinding. When she really gets stuck, she can get help from her classmates. New technology platforms like Moodle and Edmodo make it easy for her to chat online with her classmates. Just as the homework is different, the classroom is different as well. Instead of standing in front of the room speaking, Miss Jackson walks around the room. She checks in with Tommy as he works collaboratively with some students. She pushes Allison further with some more challenging work. And she helps Maria with the pieces that she still doesn't quite get. In the traditional model, the teacher stands between the students and the knowledge. But with the flipped classroom model, the students have direct access to the knowledge, and the teacher serves as a coach, mentor, and guide, helping the students access this knowledge. The flipped classroom leverages technology in a way that lets both Miss Jackson and the students make the most of their time and efforts.
Okay, so that's essentially how the flipped classroom works and the rationale for why I'm doing it. The flipped classroom, as it made mention in that little clip, and as I said earlier, it removes me from the center of the dispensing of knowledge in the class, and that's a good thing. It makes students become more active learners. And one of the ways it does it is using an app called Edmodo. Now, Edmodo is it's kind of like a Facebook for education. I'm able to set up closed classes so no one can access your son or daughter's information. They can't reach out to the broader internet, but it's a closed class where they can upload responses or questions. So if they had trouble with a video, they could upload a question to their classmates, or if I'm on, I could respond. And their classmates can respond to their questions. Maybe it's not about the video. Maybe it's about a homework problem. And since the students are interacting this way, I give them credit. So it's a means of earning extra credit. If a student asks a question, they get an extra credit point. If they respond with an answer, they can earn 2 extra credit points. Or if they respond with a video, they could possibly earn more. So that's the other app that we use frequently, is called EduCreations. EduCreations is a whiteboard app that allows students to make a short little video where they are explaining how they did a problem, and they can write out their steps, and other students can watch how they did it and learn from them. Every single problem that I assign, I've also uploaded the answer key, and that's what's so available and what's so easy to distribute now using Loyola's on-campus system. All of the resources for the class, things that were never able to be distributed back in the old paper and pencil days, can be available for your students as resources for their learning. Okay, the last thing that I make pretty frequent use of is Nearpod. Nearpod is a means of doing what's called formative assessment. So I can ask the students questions without their going in the gradebook. And I can collect and get the idea of how the class as a whole is understanding the material, either the material that I presented in a video or just the material that we're going over in class before I give them a formal assessment like a quiz or a test. Nearpod is a great means of asking the questions, but also allowing me to see the data as to how they did in a very usable format for me. Okay, the last section is going to be some feedback I gained from my students the first year I flipped the class. But as I found, the seniors in the class are the seniors that are in my calculus class are a little more mature than the students that were in this video. They were freshmen and sophomores when they were part of a flipped class for the first time. So I found that even though the class was popular in geometry, there was still a little bit of a transition for the younger students. The seniors seemed to have a much easier time with it. So here's the feedback for you, and I hope it gives you a clearer picture of what your son or daughter is going to be getting into this year. How did you like the flipped classroom?
This past year, I really enjoyed the flipped classroom. It was really nice because when I was studying for a test or when I didn't understand something, instead of waiting until the next day to ask the teacher, I could just go online and look at the videos. And it really helped guide me through my homework and through the year. I think it gave me the key steps I needed to really do well in the class and understand the material.
Do you feel like you learned the material this year in geometry?
I think I did, yeah. I think that the flipped classroom at first it kind of hurt me a little bit because I didn't really know how to take advantage of it. But once I used it more often and rewatched the videos and took better notes, then I think the flipped classroom helped me with the material a lot better.
Okay, so what do you think are some of the disadvantages of the flipped class?
I think it's really easy to get behind on the videos, just kind of skip watching them and try and figure the problems out on your own. And when you don't watch the videos and you kind of fall a couple videos behind, then it's really a problem. Like, you really need to stay on top of the videos. So if you're not on top of them, then it's going to hurt you in tests.
Do you think a flipped class requires more self-discipline or less self-discipline than a traditional class?
I think it definitely requires more self-discipline because if you, like I said, if you don't stay on top of the videos, then you're definitely going to fall behind on the quizzes and tests. And I think also you need to take your own notes. Like, well, in class, if you're teaching in class, then it's kind of like you have to take your own notes and because the teacher's there. But when you're at home, sitting in your house, there's no one there making sure that you're taking the stuff down and making sure that it's really sinking in. So I think that it definitely, the flipped classroom definitely requires more self-discipline.
Can you offer next year's class any tips for succeeding in geometry?
I think that some tips I would give the new geometry students would be that they really need to watch the videos thoroughly. Like, you can't just, if you didn't watch the video the night before, you can't just like fast forward through the video and try and find the important parts. You really have to watch the video and pause it and rewind to make sure you understand everything that's in the video.
What are some tips that you used to really understand the video?
Some things that I use to really understand the video, like I said, I would pause the video. You know, if you don't get something, or even if you think you do get something, it's good to rewind because kind of the second time it sinks in more. Also, taking notes helps a lot, especially writing them down for me. I think when you write things down, it really helps you remember them better.
So you think that's better than taking a screenshot?
I think so. I think a lot of people take screenshots for notes with the iPads, but I think that's kind of the easy way out. I mean, with the screenshot, you can kind of look back at it, but when you actually take the notes down, then it really helps it stick in your mind a lot better.
How long would you say it takes to watch a 10-minute video?
I think a 10-minute video should take about 20 minutes probably, including all the note-taking and pausing it.
How did the flipped class affect your studying for finals?
Well, I think actually one of the biggest advantages of having the flipped class is when you're studying for finals and you don't remember or you have to refresh yourself on a lesson you had earlier in the year. You don't have to come in earlier to review your tests. You can just go back and rewatch what you learned in the first place, and it's really helpful to just get the full Monty back into your brain.
Okay, there's some pretty candid feedback that I would love for you to share with your sons and daughters. I know that I've kind of passed on my advice for them that have come from other students, but you can't hear that kind of stuff from too many people. I want to thank you for watching the video. I know it's a bit longer than the ones I make for the students, but if you have any questions, please bring them on Thursday night. I love the conversation. I think this is an exciting step in education, and I'm happy to talk to you about it. So once again, thanks for watching.